Hey guys, welcome back to Chris and Retro. I've got a good show tonight or today that I'm going to be dropping. Last night I had the pleasure of spending some time with Combat Recovery in Auburn, New York. They are an organization built on the recovery journey. So many of the people that are involved in their location have been touched by substance use, either through a loved one or themselves. And in many cases, this gym is a lifeline for a lot of people. Um, it also has, some significant reach in the community relative to just the stories they tell, not just those that come there and train. Now, I've had two members of that gym be on here. Nate was on here, as well as Taylor, and they were both. We did interviews with them, and I go back and take a look at some of those. Nate was just getting ready to for I think for his first world's competition in K2 kickboxing, and then Taylor was coming on just before her third fight. If you get a chance, listen to that full video with Taylor. That's pretty remarkable comeback from her from recovery. But as we go through some of these videos, and I apologize, first time I've done anything like this, the on-site audio is a little bit off, but I think it's something you'll get a sense of hear what their story is, why they're doing, why they do what they do. And I just found it inspiring to touch base with these guys on location. 6 of their fighters are fighting here on March 29th. And so take a look at what we have. Now, this day means something to me, and I didn't make the correlation when I originally planned to set up this video shoot with these guys or with this team. But for me personally, it's a significant day. It's a milestone. Today marks 7 years. 12:01 a.m. on March 15th of 2017. I was released from my last incarceration. At that point, the following after, I went to a friend of mine's restaurant that was close to me and had some work for me to start right away. And in that morning, I walked in. I got a hug. He said, "You look good, homie." He said, "You look good, homie." Gave me a hug, and just said, "Let's get to work." And we went to work. And that welcoming back to give me some work to do as I was building back a life that I destroyed from substance use and criminal activity, that I felt, okay, here's some progress I can make. It's one of the things I love so much about this gym, and I didn't make the connection between the timing of all this until this morning, actually, but this is work, it's progress. I mean, recovery is such a difficult thing, and the principles of fighting and or even any type of training or any type of activity gives you an opportunity to have progress when sometimes maybe your mental health isn't where it's supposed to be, or maybe your substance use, you're struggling with trying to stay where you're supposed to be. This gives you work to do that's outside of that, so that your whole life is not completely about that, and you can make progress and start to feel like you're doing some good things. Now, in the next few videos I'm going to share with you, I got a series of interviews. Again, this is first time I've done anything on location like this, so I do apologize for the audience, and it was a live training session with these guys, but you get a sense of what the program is. Be a little clunky in the transitions, I hope you bear with me, but you'll get to meet some of their fighters. 6 of them are fighting on the 29th, and I'll get started on it right now. I guess I'll make that a little bigger for you. I get a wide range of skill sets here. Everything from obviously a small child. This is a small gym. Randy is the owner of the gym, and he's put this together. Shoestring, donations, some contributions from the fighters. This is really just a remarkable work with just pulling something together with a bunch of people that have interest. His own son has gone on. Nate has gone on to do some great things. They have another fighter in there, Haley, who also was in the worlds as a K2 kickboxer. So they have 2 very high level people. Taylor's on the come up. They got a couple other people in there that are really starting to show their stuff, but they never had that chance. And this gym opens them as a family. And so this is a sense of some of their training together. And then we'll skip on to some of the interviews. All right, you get a sense of what they're doing on location, and So Randy and I have some history too. So we both surrounded similar circles in our history. I was with a promotion called Cage Combat back when I was an amateur fighter, and I knew Randy from that place. Randy's has a substance use history that he's not ashamed to talk about, and he was a pro fighter at one point in time. He's the guy in the blue shirt walking through here. Tremendous heart for his team, and very dedicated to making sure that they're successful. And still pretty quick. He did some work when he was there. I couldn't believe how fast he was still at this age, and as long as it's been since he fought. But he's got a real heart for this, and I think found his lane. We all have different places that we can touch people's lives. I think Randy's found something here. Let's take a look at what he has to say on this momentarily. Sorry for the clunkiness of the transitions. It's going to take a second. Here's Randy.
I'm Randy Smith. I'm the coach and owner of Combat Recovery. Randy, we got history. Your cage comments and some other things. Got a lot of respect for you as a person, but also the mission here. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing. This is Combat Recovery. It's a gym I started up a few years ago. I had it for a while. I've been in the business of fighting in a gym for about 20 years. I struggled with substance abuse for about 5 or 6 years. I ended up in Auburn, coming through the jail and stuff. So I was working at Nick's Ride, and I started my gym over in the basement of Nick's Ride. And it blew up and grew. Now we moved to another facility here at 115 Tennessee Street. And I just been talking to a lot of the people, like the fighters and stuff. Like a lot of people here are either in recovery, affected by substance abuse, or have family members that are in recovery, and some of them don't, but like it's all of us. So they have very, it's a special place now. Well, you guys got great energy. It's the first time I've been inside the facility to listen to you guys train, and you as a coach, how you were breathing that energy into your team on the training is unlike anything I've heard. So it's awesome, positive energy. And what is your hope for this upcoming fight with your team? You got 6 fighters, right? We got 6 fighters. I'm going to every show is the same, right? Let's go out 6 and all. But these guys are learning a lot. So we use a lot of scenarios like a fight and recovery in the life, right? Like it's only a failure if you don't learn. You know what I mean? Go out there. It'd be awesome to go out there and go 6 and all, right? Or 5 and all, 4 or 3 and all. But I talk about it all the time. I was talking to the other day, like it's easy, just not easy anymore, right? When you go out and 2, 3 and all, 4 and all, you're knocking everybody out, right? That's when it's easy. Right? That's like in recovery. So you first get recovery, and it's easy, right? But when you're getting all the rewards from recovery, you're getting that new job, you got that relationship, you got that new car. And what happens when your old lady cheats on you, the car breaks down, you lose your job, right? You still got to stay in recovery. And that's the thing is we're a team here, and recovery's a little bit different. We all have whoever's in recovery here has a team outside of here too. And they have a coach and the counselors and stuff like that. And here's this a special place. Like everybody here can relate to what somebody else is going through. Because everybody's recovering from something. It might not be substance abuse, right? Well, I tell you, I'm a big believer in people being fellow travelers. When you and I first met, we were in 2 different worlds. We were in different worlds. We were in different places in our head and our own recovery journeys, or lack thereof at the same time. And I love seeing where you come and so we can do anything to support your gym and your work. Yeah, when we first met, I was struggling still. I was just getting, that was my tail end of my relapse that I had for 5 years, you know what I'm saying? So, and I remember I get inspiration from everybody. Like to learn from everybody. Like the student is always the teacher, and the teacher is always the student. Because I learn from these guys every day, all day long. If I make a mistake and I get ahead with these guys, this and that, they show me, they teach me so much. Right? It's big, these guys are a big part of life. And on those bad days, because I still have bad days, on those bad days, knowing that these guys need me, that gives me a little bit of extra accountability. Yeah, it's accountability. Accountability, absolutely. Accountability at the highest level.
Well, you know what you're talking about too. You're a pro fighter, and now you're investing that history into the team. So that's
it's not cliche. Like I tell these guys all the time too. Like Mike Tyson says it best. Like everybody's got a game plan until you get hit in the mouth. Right? That's the same thing in life. Right? Same thing in rugby. Like I was talking earlier, how it's easy when it's easy. But when you get hit, that's when it counts the most. What are we going to do with that? What are we going to do with that? And Taylor started off 2-0. She lost a couple fights because stepped up the opposition. But now she's learned more from that than she did when she was winning. Right?
She just thought she's a good one, so she'll be fine. I think what I always tell people when they actually step in and fight, as an audience, you don't realize that every shot does hurt someone, especially when you get in smaller play. So these big shots aren't the only ones to take. And that's a lot like life, too. A lot of times you're getting chipped away at it, chipped away. And the big shot might knock you down. It's what you do with it.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, too, is you got to do it's all repetition, right? The more you do anything, the better you get at it. You got to tell these guys, the first time that you guys get tired, it's not going to be during the fight. The first time you get hit, it's not going to be during the fight. The first time you got to dig deep and do think you got nothing left, it's not going to be in the fight.
I appreciate you. So I love that part. And I think that's important is that the reason that we put this time in. So whether in your recovery, if it's your 12-step work or whatever you're doing, the reason that you do that is because invariably you're going to be faced with challenges. It's not to give you something to do when things are going well, just like he was describing in fighting. I mean, you want to not walk in the cage and have the very first or in the ring and have the very first time you take a big shot be then. You don't want to get exhausted to the point of not moving then. Same thing with your recovery journey. You don't want to have that be the first time that you're faced with a challenge that you try to figure out what tools to use. You got to have the tools trained as you go there. And that's why this consistency with these types of, with not just with what he's doing here, but in this work, we've got to stick with it. I mean, it's massively important that you get trained ahead of time and you're consistent with it. This next fighter, his name's Ivan, and another fighter that's got a fight coming up, and I want to share that Ivan with you as well.
Terrible. I got a fight coming up March 29th. Training at combat recovery for over a year now. 3 fights under my belt currently. I have 5 by the end of April. So
what are you known for? What's your?
Am I doing it for?
What are you known for? In your
what am I known for? Maybe my boxing. I think. Very good boxer. Short transitions and kickboxing a little bit. So that's kind of like my UFC. I'm used to it.
Nice. So what got you kind of recovery on all possibilities?
I got recommended by a friend actually a few years ago, and it's kind of just like changed my life around. I had a heart upbringing, so kind of recovery just gave me a place to call home with friends and family.
So the training and the community is that important to you?
Oh, absolutely.
What I loved about this is, I went in with one mindset thinking that predominant part of those that were going to be at this gym were going to be people in recovery substance use. When Ivan said that, it was hard for me to not feel that. I had a hard upbringing and found this here. It's a lot of people, what they use the combat sports or any other sport is it is a place for them to find community, family, and a more positive outlet. I felt like this was powerful, and it meant something to me to have him be that, I guess vulnerable is the word, to share his history and what got him here. What's your prediction of the fight?
What's my prediction?
Yeah.
I'm thinking when I get out, honestly, that's what I'm hoping. But
What's your aspiration? So you're laying at night thinking about how you're going to win this. What is it?
It's first round knockout. I'm just going to go through your story. Absolutely. My last fight, I felt like I got a little robbed by the judges. So this time, I'm using the judges out of it.
Are you in Rochester?
Syracuse.
Yeah, everything in Rochester. All right, well, we're going to get some other people that appreciate taking the time.
So that was Ivan. He confident, which is he should be going into it. But you'll notice that that's kind of a theme with the fighters here. They're all they seem to have this confidence about him, and I think it definitely comes from the coach and how he gets them ready to go. The words he uses during training. It's the same thing as when we're helping people in life too. Is that the words we use, how we drive them. The story I shared at the beginning. You look good. Let's get to work. I mean, it's the same type of thing. It's not while we recognize history, we don't have to loiter there. We can go forward to things that we're shooting for. And I think that these milestones these kids are going for are phenomenal. Not all of them are going to be pro fighters. Not all of them are going to accomplish, great things in this sport. But I can promise you, the experience they're having in this community is going to pay dividends over and over again. I was not a great fighter by any means, but the dividends that I had by going through that season of my life was absolutely extraordinary, and I think in a lot of ways saved my life and helped me have the tools I needed to recover from addiction. And this was just a very inspiring evening for me. Let's hear what Haley has to say. Haley, I competed in the world competition. I think it's what they called it for K2 kickboxing the last time they went. So we'll hear from Haley. And she's got a little bit different background why she's here, as they all seem to have a slightly different angle on why they're there. And it's amazing to me they've created such a nice little community here in that gym. Here's Haley.
I came to this gym just looking for another thing to do and looking for some extracurricular exercise, and I found that here, and I ended up going here.
So you got some background. So you traveled a little bit in this sport?
Yeah, so the first year I was fighting here, I ended up going to the 2025 World Kickboxing Championships in Vienna, Austria, and I ended up placing fifth at the world.
Not bad for a sport you just tried out.
No, not really.
So did you have another sport that you were involved in, or you just bored with it? Or?
I do every sport you can imagine. I like sports in general. I do a lot of motocross, softball, volleyball, field hockey.
Motorcycles will take the fear out of it.
Yeah.
So do you know your opponent coming up? I mean, you've been at this for a while.
I do. It's actually a rematch.
Usually when you get to your level, you start to see some of the same people, because not a lot of people can compete at the same level.
Yeah, I fought her before. She was my second fight that I ever fought. So yeah.
How are you feeling?
I feel great.
So you know the holes in her game, and you're pretty comfortable exploiting them?
From the first fight, I definitely have advanced a lot, but I've also I based my training off her techniques and what we saw in the last fight, so we know what we're looking for.
Okay, very nice. So any words of encouragement? Because I think that you've got a unique story. I mean, you came in this thing trying it. You came to this gym, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a world championship tournament. So what encouragement do you have for somebody maybe, because a lot of people right now are lost. They don't really know what to do to find their way. So what would you say to somebody?
Well, you can never accomplish something if you don't try. All you have to do is try it to make it happen.
Well, good luck this next, what is it, 2 weeks from now, hopefully? Okay. Good luck. Hopefully we'll do it. I'll see you.
So I thought Haley was interesting, and again, it speaks to the attitude of those in the gym. I had to pull out of her that she was, in a world competition. I mean, most gyms you walk into, and at least from my experience, you'll hear everybody's accolades and everything that they've done, and in many cases, they're extraordinarily stated. But if we start with Coach Randy, I had to mention he was a pro fighter. He didn't mention it. And we some of them start to state some of their accolades towards it through, as I think they heard other ones speaking, but it's not their accolades are not the thing that I was most impressed with collectively with all of them. They're not in there bragging about their accomplishments in the ring, good or bad or otherwise. They're talking about work. They're talking about what they've learned, the things that they skills, their confidence in themselves based on their preparation. It's even some of the confidence about, I believe I'm going to knock him out in the first round. That's just confidence in his preparation. And obviously the kids put a lot of work, and he's in great shape, Ivan, but also the rest of them, they're in phenomenal shape. Their fighters are ready to go. And, to me, it's just the attitude of the gym is phenomenal. And so it's funny to me that somebody would accomplish something like that. I know me, man, if I was in a world tournament, finish fifth, second, first, whatever, I don't care. You'd know about it, because I'd be so proud of that. And even I'm sure they are proud of it, but it's just not what they lead with. They lead with what they're doing as a community. And I think that's really extraordinary. So we're going to meet Jamin next. And he's transitioned from another sport, which is akin to this one. I think it helps him get a kind of a leg up with some of the things that he's used to. But we'll meet Jamin.
What brought me here was one of my friends. He took me to the gym. I have about 2 years of wrestling experience. But, I just enjoy training. I do this as like a family. Yeah.
Having been a wrestler, how hard is it to switch to striking?
It's definitely a completely different sport. A lot more cardio. It takes a lot more out of you. Yeah.
You got over the fear of being on your back?
Yes.
That's important.
Yep.
So your fight's coming up?
Yes.
You know your opponent?
I do. His name is Omar Ortiz. He's a debut. I'm also a debut. So
Being a debut, what are your thoughts? I mean, are you nervous?
I'm not really nervous yet. No, I'm actually confident. I'm excited to fight. I'm not worried about it. So
That's your wrestling pedigree. It's not your first rodeo you've been in before.
yeah.
Very cool. Any message to people that might be looking for combat recovery or something the mission that's here beyond just the fighting?
Come down here, train. It's a family.
That's awesome. Yeah, very cool. It's nice meeting you and good luck in your fight.
So that's Jamin, and he struck me as interesting. The backstory isn't what the other ones are, but I think he's an interesting tool and element of their team, and that he brings wrestling in. So the idea of competition has a different experience for him, because the competition that he's used to being in is all the time, several matches in a day. And so now he's transitioned that skill over to striking. And again, the attitude, very positive attitude. Good. I think it just generally, by now you can see, I don't think I have to keep reiterating it. The attitude of this gym is remarkable. And I think that anybody that is seeking something like this should really get involved in a program like this, or, even specifically in combat recovery. Cause I've been watching these guys for a while, and I know Randy, and I feel like it's definitely a very noble enterprise. And I'm glad to see that they've had their challenges, ups and downs and things like that, but it's really good to see them doing well. Now, Nadia's got a little different angle on this, and I was encouraged by her message. It was definitely different than the other ones, and I think equally as powerful. So we'll get into that one here in a second. Actually, I got to share her before I split the screen. How about that? Professional broadcasting at its finest. Here's Nadia.
So, what brought me to combat recovery? Recovery is not part of my life personally, but it is a big part of my parents' life. And I really support, my dad is 2 years sober. My mom's working on a year sober. So I'm really just trying to, that's why I chose this gym, because there's people from every background in here. And so I came here because we're all different, and we all it's just different from every other gym.
So you carry the message.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah.
So you got a fight coming up too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. First fight, where are you at? How many fights you got?
I have one fight.
Okay.
I'm 1-0.
Okay.
And I'm fighting again March 29th.
You know the opponent?
I do know a little bit about her. She's a debut, and she trains in Rochester, New York.
Okay. So you know probably the gym and all that, probably makes sense. Randy did the coach.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are your thoughts on what are you going to try to do in the fight?
Just pressure. It worked in my last fight. That's what I plan on doing this fight. And my last fight I did win by split decision, and this time I plan on making a definite win. I plan on making it very clear who wins this fight.
Well, your story is a little interesting, because a lot of us get into programs like this because of our own recovery story, but you're doing it in the support of other people.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for other people that find themselves in your shoes, that maybe has a loved one that's struggling with addiction and trying to figure this out?
So a lot of people that know somebody in active addiction, they don't understand that active addiction is a disease, and they can't necessarily help it. So instead of being an enabler or pushing them away, try to understand and be there as a support system, and that goes a long way in supporting somebody that's recovery.
And so training this gym, you feel like it's helped you be more
Yes.
sportsman?
Yeah.
Well, I wish you good luck in the fight. Sounds like you have a good plan. And
Thank you.
good meeting
Yeah, good meeting you too.
So again, that was another interesting. I was just taken back by her story, because when we're I went in there again with a preconceived notion about what I was going to face. And here's somebody that's taking a look at both parents are struggling with addiction. 2 years sobriety with one, 1 year sobriety with the other one. And, that strikes home here with both Sam and I being in recovery from addiction and having children and what they look at and how they deal with it. And I thought this was remarkable that, Nadi would get in the fight too, and the only way is she knew how. And I personally just applaud that approach. I think she showed maturity beyond her years, and hopefully this is something that she's, getting a lot out of. I think the mistake is that people think that they go into gyms a lot of times to be tough or to, whatever. This is a positive expression for her, and she's obviously confident in what she's doing. And again, I think the culture here and the way that the confidence in each other and the way they rally around each other is remarkable. Her story, I think, has a lot of tentacles to it where it really can help a lot of people. Now, the next one I'm going to bring up here is Nate. We've had him on the show before. Nate's two-time worlds in K2. He's probably their most accomplished fighter, and he happens to be Randy's son. So Nate has grown up around the sport of fighting, grown up professional fighting as well as amateur fighting. He's been probably more fights than most people twice his age, and he's just lived it. He trains every single day of the week, and he had the opportunity to potentially get gold last time and got disqualified for a spinning back fist, just a technique issue rather than skill set issue. Otherwise he'd be gold. And he's pretty amazing on his feet. So he's transitioning into a new style, and he'll get into that for you, a new style of competition here in this upcoming fight. And let's hear from Nate. Maybe we'll hear from Nate. Hi, Nate.
Tell me about who you are and what you're doing.
I'm Nate Smith, and I'm a future pro kickboxer. I train every single day. I want to be a UFC champion one day.
Okay.
And yeah.
You got a fight coming up?
Yeah, I'm fighting March 29th, my first MMA fight.
So do you know your opponent at all? Or?
I don't know nothing about him. He has one fight, but I don't even know anything about him. I'm only focusing on myself and my training, and just every day I'm just making sure I'm training harder than he is.
So you say you got aspirations to be a pro fighter in the MMA realm. What's your background for the audience that may not know you?
So I've been kickboxing since I've been like 8 years old. My dad used to be a professional MMA fighter, so he'd bring me into the gym with him almost every morning, and I just fell into the sport. I started out boxing, now I'm kickboxing. Now I'm going into grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. So now I'm going MMA.
So that's a little bit of a switch. You got some background overseas too?
Yes, sir. I went to Germany in 2023, and I went to Austria in 2024. I placed bronze in both. Well, technically, I placed bronze in Austria, but I got disqualified for throwing spin back fist.
For the John Jones?
Yeah, I did spin back fist knockout like I shouldn't have done. But
Well,
we did only learn though. So.
yeah, I mean, John Jones still doesn't count that as a loss for his disqualification.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for the fight? What do you think?
I honestly think it's going to be a second round knockout or just domination off 3 rounds.
Do you have any idea what he's going to try to come at you with?
I honestly think he's dumb enough to stand with me, but wherever we go, I'm prepared.
All right, sounds good. It's good talking to you, Nate.
Good talking to you.
So Nate cracks me up. You can see his confidence. Nate's lived this sport for a long time. He's a good kid. The thing I appreciate about Nate is that he's another child of an addict. And while he's had this positive exposure to professional fighting and a positive exposure to how the outcomes it's had for his life, and he is fun to watch. He is got all the build you need for being a good kickboxer. He's tall, he's long, he's got the skill set. A father that's dedicated to his success. He's got a gym that's theirs. Those are all good things for him, but his attitude is outstanding. And I'm glad to see his confidence as he matures. I wish him well in his fight, but I think it's more importantly, it just shows us, for you, if you're a parent out there, okay, and you struggle with addiction, you feel like you screwed up your kids. When you turn it around and you start living a life of recovery, you're showing them fight that they might need. And maybe they don't end up in a combat recovery or in another program like that, but you are showing them the ability to overcome obstacles, and you're showing them the greatest love possible, that you're their parent and you've got them. You've got their back. So you may be, one of the things I'm burdened with all the time is what I lost and can't provide for my children at this point in my life because of what I did. But, the thing is that what I am able to provide for them is all of me. And all of me can only be here if I'm in recovery and sustain it. So this is important. I've had that lesson beat into me over years, and it's really good to see these kids responding in such a positive way. Now, this last guest, she was on here with pretty. We had a good conversation, very in depth interview. Taylor Engie, she's coming up to her fourth fight here. So if you've seen that interview, you know her extraordinary backstory, being in a coma 2 years ago, and now she's a fighter. Pretty remarkable background. But she also her job is actually working in recovery, so she's a little different angle than the rest of them in that they're part of a recovery gym, and that the outreach of that is to the recovery community, obviously, but they want to be competitive, strong fighters, and they are a competitive team. They win some, they lose some, like all teams, but they have a higher mission, and that's why I'm just really drawn to what they got to do here. And I also have a bias, Chris and Retro. I have a bias to the retro style gym. It's like an old boxing gym. I just love that's how they train. But Taylor had her day job, so to speak, is also this. And so we'll get into a short interview here with Taylor. And you've met her before, but this is her current take, as she just got done with probably about a 2-hour workout, as did the rest of them.
Hi, my name is Taylor Engie. I'm here with County Recovery.
Welcome back, Taylor. For the audience that doesn't know Taylor, check out earlier episodes. We've had Taylor on before. And so how are things going with your training?
Everything's going great. I've been doing this for a year, and it's just constant progression. So it's awesome. I do it every day, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing else. So.
I'll tell you, I was fortunate enough to be able to see you fight, so I know that you're legit for the sport.
Yeah.
You had some disappointment in that fight. What are your thoughts? How things progressed since then?
I feel like, our main talk about that is like we learn more when you lose. You know what I mean? So it's like my first 2 fights I won, but I was just like kind of in the pink cloud of it. Like I didn't really learn anything from it, because I didn't think I did, I lost. I won, so so it's like, but yeah, when I lost, it was like, I don't know, I just wasn't expecting it, so I definitely learned a lot more though, I learned to keep my hands up, like really, it's one thing for someone to tell you to keep your hands up, but it's another thing to learn why you need to keep your hands up, you know what I mean? So she was definitely a lot stronger than I thought, she was dang, so. And then I just lost my last one too, but that's okay. Like, I just gotta remind myself I've been doing this for a year, and a lot of these girls have been doing it a lot longer than that, so.
So here's the thing. So I'm curious for you, because your journey is different than what some people experience with fighting. It's one thing to go and have some losses in fighting. But you're a person in recovery that has a pretty remarkable recovery. And for those that haven't seen the previous episode, please watch that. She went into some pretty serious detail about what you've come through. You are a miracle. So how do you translate that when you lose a couple fights? How do you deal with that with your recovery? Because that's equally as important as anything you're doing here.
Yeah, I've definitely I felt a lot worse in my life, after losing a fight, Like, I'm in a recovery gym, so obviously I've had some battles with addiction, I've been sober for almost 3 years now. And, yeah, like, losing a fight is nothing compared to what I've been through. Like, that's just a day, that's just an hour where I feel like shit, whereas, like, I felt like crap for years, putting myself through things that normally people wouldn't, but, yeah.
Sorry about the paper. I've got up here to try to shield some of those. So what would you pass on to somebody to done with it? I mean, it's one thing to say that you've gone through adversity with your recovery. I'm not going to touch that. It's another thing to get into a sport where you're in a good place in your life. You're doing well. And how did you avoid the here we go again? Because I think all of us, when things don't go well in life, after we've gone through a season of recovery, it's hard not to say, I'm failing again.
Right. Well, for me, it's like I'm glad that I haven't had those feelings of like wanting to go back, because it's like I think the reason that got me sober was just like a turning point in my life that I'm like really grateful for. So if you haven't watched the last interview, I ended up in a coma for 2 months. Like my family thought that I was like not gonna make it. So being able to like live through that and see what would have happened if I died, like I lived through that. You know what I mean, through my family. So I think that really like affected me, and I have a 6-year-old daughter. She just turned 6 the other day, so it's like I don't want that for her life, and I don't want that for mine, and now I can start to see, you know, like my future in a positive way. Like I'm like hopeful for a lot of things that I've never really been hopeful for before, you know. But being in this gym, like it's definitely helped me a lot, you know. Like I'm doing it every day, but it's like I need to do it every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like I'll just, you know.
The word preaches a habit, good and bad.
Right, exactly. It's like the saying where it's like devil's hands or like idle hands are the devil's workplace or something like that. Like I need to be constantly doing something, you know, so I don't have time to think about what if or what, you know what I mean?
So you leverage this work too into your real work, your day job. So
Yeah,
are you still in the tribe?
I am, yeah. So every day I help people who are dealing with like addiction, and it's great because I've been in their situation, so I feel like I could just be empathetic and just, you know, like work with them the best I can. You know, I can also kind of see what, you know, where they're at because, like I said, I've been there. You know, so it's definitely rewarding for sure.
That's all I wanted, fan. I mean, I was pushing your last fight, so I think your attitude's awesome. Your
Yeah.
story is huge.
Thanks.
I care about your fight going well, but your message is bigger to me and my audience. So, you know, good luck on the fight. I did a lot of good things. Whatever happens, just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining.
So that's Taylor, and again, the full interview. We've done an interview prior to this, but again, another example of a great attitude there. The gym itself really providing a platform for people to find something to do with their life. Taylor described needing to keep busy and things like that. So I shared all those interviews with you guys, not in clips, because I wanted them to speak for themselves about the impact that this type of work has in their life. And I'm not suggesting that all of us go out and get into a combat gym, because let me tell you something, it's different. And like Mike Tyson said, and Randy even quoted that, it is different when you get punched in the face. So it might not be for you. It might be maybe the fitness of it. I tell you, both my son's Army, was Army. He's now working at a restaurant. He hasn't worked out in years. He's 27. My 19-year-old came. He has never done anything like this, but he's been an athlete his whole life. They went and did the fitness part of it, did a little bit of striking under their coach, and just to participate. And they were exhausted after it was all said and done. So even that type of thing is a good fitness program for you. But I'm always struck by what Randy's doing there. You know, Randy's had, you know, a challenging season in life for sure. He's had a lot that he's gone through to keep that gym together. A lot he's dealt with in his personal life, also with just being a person in recovery. And I'm a big fan of what he's doing. I've known from where Randy came from to where Randy is. And I see him as one of the real ones. And what this gym is doing as a small community within a larger community is remarkable. And I want to just make sure that people take a look at combat recovery and support these guys the very best you possibly can. They are shoestring budget donations really is what keeps them going. And as you can see, the lives that I just shared, there are many more there. This was a light night. That was probably, I think, what we have 6 people there. And that was nowhere near representative of everybody that comes in. So they have quite a large following now there. But it's, you know, with no money, the lights don't stay on. So if you're interested in donating it, please reach out to Chris at chrisandretro.com and I'll get you in contact with Randy. You can also reach these guys on Facebook at Combat Recovery on Facebook. I really think it's worth your effort and energy to do what you can do to support the program. Like I said, I'm a huge fan. Now they've got a fight coming up. The people that you just spoke with, I think I have the poster still here. Why do I keep doing that? I have the poster still here. So let's show you. Yes, there it is. Okay, so if you're in the Rochester, New York area, March 29th, there's several stages of fighting. So they have it's up on Brighton Henry Town Line Road in Rochester. It's off of the 390. So you can get off there pretty easily. There's a big mall and everything there. So that is a really good venue. For this type of thing. There's a lot of seating, and it's kind of like stadium seating, which is a lot easier to see the fight. So I guess it's going to be quite a full card. A lot of fighters to see. I think it's well worth your time to go and support this team for sure. They've got 6 people there that have really put their toe on the line to see what they've accomplished over the last few months. So if you get a chance to be in the area, go up and take a look at them. If you don't, reach out to Combat Recovery on Facebook and see what they need for support, because it would definitely be a great thing to see this gym continue to move forward. They're doing remarkable things in the lives of people. I'm a fan of them. I hope you are too. Hope you enjoyed this show. Between now and the next time we talk, I'm going to do everything I can to stay out of trouble, and I hope you do too.